Welcome back to the channel, Aiming for Perfection, where we are striving for perfection, but we're striving to be like Christ. Listen, I want to just welcome you back to the channel. Here's the topic for today: being appreciated versus being tolerated. You want to walk into the room and you want to make sure that your presence is welcome. As I was told by, certain people that kind of mentored me, they would say, read the room. Read the room. When you walk into a room, just kind of read the room. When people see you coming towards them from afar, are they giving you, a hey before you even get there? Or they're like looking, and then the closer you get, they give you that, hey girl. Once you get close to them, you can kind of tell what that mood is within the group of people or in the room that you're dealing with. So we just want to give you some topics first, and I'm gonna just share some things that I've written down first, real quick with you, and then I'm gonna expound a little bit more on what I'm talking about. Make sure that I see this correctly in my notes that I put here. Okay. First of all, there's a difference between being appreciated. We want to make sure that we understand that, and being tolerated. It can be very profound with your relationship with your people that you're dealing with. So, just a quick definition: appreciated means you are valued. You're valued who you are and what you contribute. Your presence makes positive difference. People express gratitude, respect, and encouragement. You are welcomed and not accepted. Okay, you're welcome and not accepted. Here's the difference. Here's the flip side of that: tolerated. You are merely put up with. I don't want to ever be where people are just putting up with me. I want to always have a disposition to where I'm inviting people, into my space, letting them know that I welcome whatever they have to say. I want to always have my countenance and my facial expressions to where people know that I am here for you. I'm listening to what you're saying, good eye contact, but I'm also making sure that people feel comfortable with me. Okay? And then also tolerated. Your presence is endured rather than celebrated. People may include you out of obligation, or even convenience, or even out of guilt. So we want to make sure that we eliminate these type of things, okay? And you often feel unseen, unwanted, or like an afterthought. And those are very, very awkward feelings to have, when you're in situations in your company of other people. Here's what I want you to remember, though. Appreciation says, I'm glad you're here. Here's another side. Tolerate says, I guess you can stay. This is the kind of difference between when you're in a relationship and conversation with someone, and these type of things come up, and these type of responses come up while you're engaging in conversation with them. And here's a biblical side that I want to also point out to you. The Bible merely says God doesn't merely tolerate his children. He loves and values them deeply. Scripture says in 1 John 3:1, it says, the Father, see what great love the Father has lavished on us, what that we should be called children of God. That's 1 John 3:1. And what that's really saying, that God is not really tolerating us. And you don't have to be in a presence to where people feel that your presence is not really wanted. You're going to always be wanted by the Father. I'm going to go to another side of this. I got some more information for you in regards to this. Also, it's kind of like being like a know-it-all. When people just feel like they're going to tolerate you, when you always have to give a input, you got you got a comeback for everything that's being said, instead of really listening and engaging in the conversation that's already possibly going on. So here's a know-it-all attitude. It said can be the difference between being appreciated and merely being tolerated. Often it is about, this is stuff that I wrote, often it's about how much a person knows. It's about how they make you feel. You want to be able to think about what you're being to add to the conversation when you're dealing with people. Again, difference between tolerated and then appreciated. You share knowledge and you share that you're very knowledgeable about a certain topic. And then you share the knowledge and people can agree and nod, say, yes, I approve what you're saying. And then you also going to listen to the response of the people. You're going to give them a chance to actually elaborate on the information that you said. If you're sharing information about something that you know, you don't dominate the conversation. You are a good listener as well as a person that shares valuable information. And you connect gracefully with people. You connect publicly with people, meaning some things are unnecessary. You have to, again, read the room and just kind of see what your presence brings to the people that you're engaging with. Being dismissive to what people say, that's really not something that's very welcoming to, around different groups of people. You always want to leave people being encouraged and valued. You want to also make sure that you think about what you have to say when you're in the company of other people. Is it going to add value to this conversation or to the people that are listening to the conversation? Or is it going to be something that's going to be kind of negative that will have a negative impact upon them? You want to always share valuable information, and you want to also make sure that it is something that is welcome and that it is going to upbuild, not tear down. Sometimes we can get attitudes a lot, and like my husband tells me a lot of things in my facial expressions. I'm not meaning to do that, but if I kind of hear something that's kind of maybe rude or that didn't really fit into the conversation, sometimes my face shows more than what I want it to. So again, even that, I have to make sure, because that can be offensive to someone else. Even our facial expressions when you're in the presence of other people. Also make sure that I want to make sure, and you need to make sure as well, that your words build a person up. Simply demonstrate what you know. Have a listening ear and listen enough to understand instead of responding. Make sure when the person is talking to you that sometimes you may need to repeat it back to them to make sure that they understand what you're saying, or that your point is being put across to where they can understand, and they may repeat it back to you. But make sure that you demonstrate humility in that, and you give them valuable information so that you can really understand what they're saying and you can respond appropriately, okay? And personally appreciate someone, people generally appreciate someone who is both knowledgeable and approachable also. So make sure that you are aware of those type of things, that you are approachable, that you're knowledgeable about whatever is going on in the conversation, and that you give good feedback also, and that you're a good listener. You don't want to always leave people feeling that they're small and invaluable also. Your conversation needs to be where people feel that, you add to what they're saying. You're knowledgeable to what they're saying, and that you are listening also to what's going on. And here's some biblical principles to kind of get things in perspective. Okay, wisdom is always connected to humility, and that's Proverbs 15:33. It also says, fear the Lord. The fear of the Lord is instruction in wisdom, and humility comes before honor. Likewise, James 1:19 says, encourages believers to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. We have to make sure that our points are being valued to people. We don't give negative attitudes. The world uses these words, vibes. I don't really like using all that type of stuff, or energy. That's not my thing. But you want to make sure what you're giving out and your presence are welcome, to the people that you're in company with. If this is something that's going to be helpful to you, you want to make sure always to be appreciated and not tolerated, okay? So again, this is Lori, aiming for perfection, where we're striving to be like Christ. Please like and share. If there's something that you want to comment on, that you want to reach out to me, please do so on my platform. You can definitely reach me and find me. I'm always available for you, and know that I'm here for you and I love you. I always want my information to be appreciated and valued so that you can strive to be like Christ. If you'd like to reach out to me, hit me up on my Instagram page at Aiming for Perfection 2007.